Ladies and gentlemen, Carnival Cruising Podcastaways with your hosts, Thomas Kennedy and Gary Manning.
Hey, everybody. We are here celebrating because Trevor is not here this week.
Yes, we have taken control. We've kicked him. We've kicked him out of the cult. I mean,
that's it.
Yeah.
There was somebody had posted the how to tell if you're in a cult or not, and it talked all about respecting the leader and making sure you did what the leader wanted. Screw the leader.
Yeah, I mean he was going off the deep end. I mean, I swear.
Well, I think it wouldn't have been long before Madison would have been trying to take over, really. So
yeah, that too. But he was working on a Kool-Aid recipe. I know it. That's not good. But so how have you been?
Man, I've been pretty good, my friend. I've been pretty good. I had a wonderful weekend up in Maine, and now it's back to the grind. But other than that, I'm doing really well. How about yourself?
I'm good. We started the community band last night, so it was a really good rehearsal. It felt good to play again.
I hear you, man. I'm glad to hear you.
Yeah. Did you get to do like a lobster roll tour?
Man, I had so much lobster. It was amazing. The only problem with all of the lobster and lobster rolls, the cheapest lobster roll we found was $26.
Holy cow.
Now, and the problem with lobster rolls is this.
They're small.
Yes, they're like literally like that big. They're 3/4 the size of a hot dog bun.
Oh God.
And
for $26?
That was the cheapest one. The most expensive one that we found was $37.
Holy cow.
We didn't buy that one. So
holy cow.
But yeah, we did have lobster tacos, and the lobster tacos were $29. It was for 2 tacos. So yeah, I'm telling you, man, anytime you got lobster, you paid for it. It was really, really, really crazy.
I would have thought that the price would have been a little bit cheaper, being that's where they harvest them.
Well, see, and that's the thing. Yeah, I mean, the thing is, you could have bought a full lobster. Like, we went to one of these places in Bangor. This place was called Doors Seafood Market. Fantastic guy. That's where we got the cheapest, or I don't want to say the cheapest, because it was really a big lobster. He had put a lot of meat on it, and but it was still that same lobster size, or the roll size, but it was like the least expensive, we'll say. And and he was selling full lobsters for $9 a pound, which is, I mean, to me, that's incredible.
Yeah, considering market price down here is like $30 a pound almost.
Yeah. So, I mean, you could have bought a full lobster for $9 a pound, or you could have bought just the lobster meat for $60 a pound.
Wow. Wow.
Yep. I don't know how much a pound of lobster meat was, because I just was not going to ask for a pound of lobster meat. But so if you think about a pound of lobster meat costing $60, and then a lobster roll is probably maybe a quarter of a pound. I don't know. Maybe a third of it. It'd be like a third.
It's
of
not
a pound.
that heavy. I mean, a lobster tail is usually like maybe 2-3 ounces.
Yeah, exactly. So that was like, but it was really, really cool, man. I had a great time. Went and had some fantastic food. I'm going to get into a little bit more of that here in just a minute, because we're going to do 2 truths and a lie.
Yeah, we are.
But without Trevor being here, it's going to be kind of tricky. But I think we've got it figured out.
Yeah, I mean, and it'll be harder to tell the liar. I mean, is every time Trevor does it, he has it. Has Madison write out his lie for him. I mean.
Exactly. And yeah, it's pretty obvious. So we won't even, but luckily, Madison, I don't know if she's gotten sick or, caught a virus or or the
Yeah.
cord was technically pulled. We haven't heard from her too much lately, so I think maybe
Which I
she
don't
took them out.
mind. I don't mind because I've seen enough AI takes over the world movies that I really don't.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah, I really don't mind that.
That's it. That's it. So, all right. Well, man, I think we got a good show this week. We have a couple things planned to talk about. I think it's going to be a quick show, but maybe not.
Yeah,
But
it
we'll
may
see what
be.
happens.
Who knows? It may end up being a regular size show.
That's it. You never know. But I do know that Trevor wanted you to plug a certain thing, I guess, since we're just about to start. If you want to talk about that, a certain platform that we've started.
Certain platform. Oh, yeah, we've got. Did you guys know that we have a TikTok account?
Oh, wow. Do tell.
Yeah. I mean, we've had it for a little bit. It's you just go up there, go to TikTok. Open up the app, search for Carnival Cruising Podcastaways, and we'll pop up. There are several just like clips. If you're like listening at home, you'll get to see our ugly mugs. If you guys don't actually watch the videos, but they're like short, 50-second clips, of the show itself, and we'd like to build our following there too as well.
Yeah, I think Trevor said in the text we're about 96 followers or something like that. And
Something like that. Yeah. I'm trying to find where I shared it because I reposted a couple. So
okay.
here we go. Here we go. We have 97 followers right now.
Oh, wow. Fantastic.
Yeah, we've got
And we just
132
start. I
likes.
mean, okay.
So yeah, we've got quite a few clips here. He's been spamming those. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
we got quite a few clips. So go through there, watch all of them. That way it gets us in the algorithm,
There you
and
go.
we'll actually it's at Carnival Cruising Pod because he couldn't fit Castaways after the at.
Okay.
So, yeah.
There you go. That's cool though. All right. Yeah, and so yeah, do that. Check it out. And let us know what you think over on our Facebook group or even, I guess, on that TikTok page. You can comment on
Yeah.
those videos on there.
And I'll be sure to let Trevor know to put the information for the TikTok in the description of this episode.
There you go. Yeah, I know that Trevor's been texting a lot about it because we have grown, I would rather say exponentially over the past few days.
Yeah.
Because, he said we were getting 10, 15, sometimes up to 10 or 15 new followers a day over there.
So, for the past 700 episodes or so, we've done Two Truth and a Lie. But me, as Trevor isn't here, we do have a special
Mm-hmm.
guest, and she is joining us right now. So we're gonna bring her in,
And then
and
we're going to let her know about the Two Truths and a Lie, but she doesn't know about. And we're going to see
yeah.
how that goes.
Okay, everyone, this is our very special guest, Michelle Steiner. She's going to talk to us about traveling with special needs and some disabilities. So, Michelle, could you tell us about yourself a little bit?
Sure, I'd be glad to. Well, my name is Michelle Steiner. I live in Pennsylvania with my husband Ron and our two cats, Jack and Sparrow. I am a paraeducator. I work in a school with students who have disabilities. And I'm also a writer, speaker, and photographer. And I love to travel. And I do all of this with having a learning disability.
Okay. So, have you been on cruises before, or just
I have
land
never,
land vacations?
just land vacations. Yes.
Just land vacations.
That's on
Okay.
the list, though. I told my husband, I said, yeah, eventually I want to do a cruise and some other ones as well.
Oh, you got to do a cruise, yeah.
Yes.
Cruising is addictive. It's one of those things that you're either going to absolutely love it or you're going to not enjoy it as much. I know that, but it seems like there's like that toss in between. There's really not an in between, I should say. Everybody, they're really, really like us. They just can't
Yeah.
wait to get on to the next one. And then there's other guys. My wife has a friend. She just took her husband on her first cruise, and he was miserable the entire time, and he does not want to do it again. So,
Oh no. Yeah.
but yeah, no, but yeah, no, that's the way it is for them, And so, but it's cool though. So you tell us a little bit about your disability.
Sure. I have dyscalculia, which is a math-based learning disability. I have difficulty with how numbers work. I just can't seem to get the concept of them. I also have, but it goes beyond that. I also have difficulty with, I confuse my right from my left. I can't tell time on the face of a clock. And it's really difficult for me to be able to process directions. I also have visual perception issues, and that is in my brain, not in my eyes. So I have relatively normal vision, but I am not able to, just be able to coordinate everything. It's just how my brain processes information.
Mm-hmm.
And I also have hand dexterity issues, and that wasn't diagnosed until I was an adult. And I struggle with things such as opening up locks, my hand dexterity issues. Sometimes folding things can be really difficult. My handwriting has always been messy. And then when I got diagnosed with the hand dexterity issues, that also started to come to light too.
Awesome.
Okay.
Okay. So the problem with numbers, I could see how that could be a challenge in traveling. So,
Definitely.
flying or even driving or any of that kind of stuff. So, how do
Or
you?
even cruising.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's gonna. I mean, in honesty, just normal everyday life. I mean,
Yeah.
because I
Right.
know for myself, but
Uh,
how does one of those things that So, how does it impact your everyday life?
Well, one of the things it definitely does in my everyday life, and even with traveling, is it is a processing disorder. So I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I have trouble processing information. So it can be really difficult. I'm not able to drive to work, but luckily my husband takes me in the morning, and I have a great coworker that takes me home at the end of the day. I also live in a central location. I mean, we have a small town, but I'm able to get to where I need to be able to go. And I mean, that's one of the ways. All the kids know, or they'll soon find out at work, I cannot help you with math. And I'm really honest and humble about things that I'm not able to do. But sometimes it can even come in different forms, like they could be folding something, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, okay, I'm probably not the person to ask for that. I can't help them when they have to unlock their locker, so I have to go to another staff member and say, "Can
Mm-hmm.
you please help them?" So that's some of the ways that can affect me at work. But sometimes even if people give me information, it might take me a second to process what they're doing or what they're asking me to do. Hand dexterity can also be an issue as well. I'm not able to really lock our door or unlock our door effectively. That was one of the first things I started to write about, was that frustration. And there was a prompt on the mighty, what's a seemingly easy task for you, but it's really hard for other people. I mean, not for me. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, something that's seemingly easy for other people, but it's hard for myself.
Right.
And that was
Right.
one of the first things. If I also, how math will affect me if I'm in public, it is really hard if I'm at the store to know just how much money I'm spending on something. It's always a surprise when I go to the register, which I'm sure it is for everybody nowadays. But when I go, it really is a shock to me. And if you
Mm-hmm.
give me a credit card or a debit card, it's so abstract that I spend more. But if you give me $20, I can visualize the money, and just I know what range I have to be in. It's not perfect, but I can give myself a range. It can be hard if I'm trying to give a tip. That can be really difficult as well. So I use my phone. And last summer, I was invited to go speak at a Down syndrome convention.
Okay.
And I had my very first trip and flight solo, and I knew that there was going to be some difficulties with the processing information, just being able to understand stuff. So I used a lot of services with that.
So with the flight and travel, did you just set a lot of alarms on your phone or to make sure that you were on time?
One of the first things that I did was I researched what programs were out there. And in my research came up, we had the Hidden Sunflower Lanyard and we had a flight ambassador at my airport. And I went through and I got information about a flight ambassador. I had a woman that met me and right when I came in, and her job was to walk me through the airport up to the gate. And she also gave me a hidden sunflower lanyard. And what that indicates is hidden disability. So people that see that know, staff members, that somebody that has one of those is going to have, maybe just needs a little extra understanding and some care. And it's a new program for Pittsburgh International Airport. My flight ambassador was walking me through TSA, and TSA said, "Oh, can you take off your lanyard?" So she even looked like, "Well, why are you having her take this thing off?" I mean, but of course I took it off because I mean that's their rules.
Mm-hmm.
And she was really surprised. She said, "This is a new program." And she got me to the gate. She talked to the people on the airline about pre-boarding. I didn't know much about that. And it was really good that I did that, because there was another woman that was on our trip that had a son that had Down syndrome, and it was a full flight, and nobody would give up their seat so she could sit with her son. And I wish I would have known. But when we were on our way home, I gave her all the information, and she was in pre-boarding with me. So using that is really powerful. Now, when I went to Orlando, people were familiar with the hidden sunflower lanyard, but I didn't have a flight ambassador. And I was able to meet my friend. And so that was a trick on the way back, but I was able to really be able to navigate, and I follow directions, and that just comes with that importance of advocacy, asking for help when you need it, knowing who to look for to ask for that, and just seeing what programs are out there, because there are a lot that can help travelers with disabilities.
See, and that was one of my questions. You answered that perfectly. One of my wife wanted to know, what are some things that you wish others knew about traveling with disabilities, and especially the hidden ones like you have. And like you say, is just don't be afraid to ask questions. Don't be afraid to, to let other people know that you need help. So yeah, that's amazing. Now, how was it was in Orlando. I'm from Florida.
Yes.
I've been through Orlando. I can tell you that place can be very tricky to get around. Did you just do a bunch of Ubers, or how was your through path through Orlando?
Well, I had a friend that was already in Florida. She had family there, and she was staying with family, and she was going to the conference. I was working with her for a while doing contract work. So she picked me up. She had a rental car, and trying to get to where that's with the processing of where you're supposed to pick me up. That was a little bit of a challenge, but I was able to work my way through that. I did that by myself, and she had a rental car, so she was able to take me places as
Okay.
well. So
So
that was good. Yeah,
you had a private chauffeur. That was awesome. That's
I
cool.
did.
Now, and my wife wants to know, what were some early indicators of your dyscalculia?
When I was really young, I had a hard time with just how numbers worked from the very beginning. I just would really struggle with a lot of that. I had trouble with counting. I had trouble with tying my shoes. And at that point, they didn't give it, even when I was diagnosed with a disability, they didn't give it dyscalculia. It was more of an umbrella term. You had a learning disability. Now the psychologist knew at age 5 or 6, I was not going to be a math genius. And he had to explain that to my dad. And my dad's really good at math. So that was a little hard for him to understand, but he saw over the years. But I think some of the hard things that we did see really early on was I had trouble memorizing my addition, subtraction facts, multiplication facts. I was not able to read a face of a clock, despite tons of interventions with that. We could just see a lot of that. And then the eye hand coordination with the left and the right confusion was something else too,
Okay.
because I would confuse that. I could not tell you what shoe I was putting on for the left and the right. And I had no concept of directions. That was another thing. And gym class was a real nightmare for me for all those years. And I can look back on it and we could just see as a young child. And I was so fortunate, though, that they were able to catch it, because at that time we were just a little bit past legislation, and people really didn't. There was a lot, especially females, that went through the school system. A lot of times people didn't know that they had anything. They had that. So it stuck out like a sore thumb.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. I can understand that. Tom, you got anything?
Yeah, the not knowing, the directions, and your left
Mhm.
from your right. How do you counteract that to where you can, maybe someone's telling you to go right, down the hall to get someplace or something. How do you cope with that? Do you have someone like actually should give you physical directions and like take you there, or do you try to navigate yourself?
I try to navigate it myself. What I'll try to do is, if I'm in a new building or a new location, I'll try to get there maybe earlier, or if I have some downtime, I will go and I will walk around and I will just try to find where places are at. So people can tell me, "Oh yeah, that's east, that's west, that's right, or that's left." That's usually not how I remember things. I might remember there's a picture of something on the wall. And if somebody changes it, okay, that might be something that, okay, I got to go and try to figure that out. Or I can find that room number. And I have my own way of processing and finding a map of where things are at. It's just not the way other people process that information. And that's all right. I have to do that. And sometimes people have to show me too. Sometimes people will just show me, and I can't give directions. I am terrible at giving directions. I can remember I was at the gym years ago, and there was somebody who wasn't from around the town we were in, and he wanted to know, "Oh, where's a good restaurant to eat at?" And I said, "I'm really sorry, I'm terrible with directions." And he asked another person that could give them, and he goes, "See, isn't that easy? Or was that so hard?" And I'm thinking, well,
Yeah, it can be if you don't know. Yeah, exactly.
yeah.
So, wow. So, all right. So, here on Carnival Cruising Podcastaways, we've been doing
Hmm.
this for about 782 episodes now. We do a thing that's called Two Truths and a Lie.
Okay.
All right. So, what we're going to do is one of us, okay,
Okay.
is going to lie, and
Okay.
two of us are going to tell the truth.
All right.
And so, and then everybody has to go to our Facebook page and tell us who was lying.
Okay.
Okay.
So
So
All right.
we'll let Trevor normally starts, but since Tom is in Trevor's place, we're going to let him start. Then I'll go, and then you can finish. And so think of either, in your brain, either a truth or a lie,
Hmm.
and then we'll go from there. All right, Tom, go ahead with your truth or your lie. Let's see what you got.
So I mentioned this earlier when that we started the Wausau Community Band up for the summer, and yesterday was the first rehearsal. One of the pieces that we're playing, I was kind of shocked, was a piece that I actually arranged back my senior year of high school. Yeah, I arranged. I mean, I did an arrangement of "Baby's Got Back,"
Whoa,
and
Sir Mix-a-Lot, baby got back.
yeah, and I wrote it to where the conductor actually turns towards the audience and starts rapping. And amazing enough, the third is still on the 30-year-old tablature that I wrote it on, that they're using. So yeah, so one of the pieces is something that I arranged 30 years ago, which I was like, I didn't even know it still existed. I thought y'all threw it out after we played it.
Wow. So when I come to on my trips and through my travels over there towards your area, and I believe it's going to be the end of June, I'm going to swing through and listen to this community band in your rendition of "Baby Got Back."
Well, this is going to be played at the concert a week from Friday.
Oh, I won't be
So
there then. Shucks.
yeah.
You'll have to record. You'll have to record it and put it on our Facebook page.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
So, okay. Well, if you follow us on Instagram or Facebook, you know that I've been in Maine for the past 5 days. I went in on Friday and we just left yesterday. And I'm telling you right now, if you have an opportunity to go to Maine, you have to. It is absolutely incredible. My wife and I were able to go to Moose. We stayed in Bangor for the whole weekend and then Monday and Tuesday as well. And we were able to go Saturday up to Moosehead Lake, and we got to go to Greenville and experience some wonderful, wonderful scenery, just beautiful places up there. Moosehead Lake is the largest or the second largest lake east of the Mississippi that is located in one state. So that was a kind of a neat thing. It has over 80 islands. Very cool. We got to go see moose. And then Sunday we went over to Bar Harbor and to Northeast Harbor and went and saw what I call penguins. It's a joke between us here in Carnival Cruising Podcastaway. They're actually seals, but I call them penguins because Trevor's trip to Alaska, his cruise to Alaska. But so that's a callback for that. But then, and then the best part about it was Monday night, my parts didn't arrive like they were supposed to for my job. So I was stuck there again. My wife and I, we go back up to Moosehead Lake. We go on our own little side road adventure. And we were literally 20 feet from a moose.
Nice.
And you could see the enormity or whatever that word would be of how big they were. It was just amazing, really cool. So like I say, if you have, and just the weather was absolutely gorgeous. Highs were in the high 70s, but it was low humidity, 30%. Lows at night were like in the high 40s. Just beautiful weather, beautiful times. I had a great weekend. So that's my, and now am I telling the truth? Or am I telling a lie?
Did you see a squirrel next to the moose?
I looked so hard for flying squirrels, but I did not see any. So I remember though that they were Canadian. I think they were Canadian.
Were they Canadian?
I think they were Canadian.
All I know is that Rocky and Bullwinkle was a big part of my childhood.
Yeah, I know Boris and Natasha. They sounded somewhat like French or Canadian or Russian or something.
Russian. They're supposed to be Russian.
Russian. Yeah. See, so maybe they're Russian then. Who knows? But all right, Michelle, go take it away.
I was just thinking when you were talking about going on your trip to Maine about the last time we were in New England. We went to New Hampshire to visit a family, one of the most amazing things is on the way home, we stayed in Hartford, Connecticut, and we went to Wickham Park, and it was just absolutely gorgeous. It was in the fall, and we're going through the Japanese garden, and there's just all these red maple leaves through that. And I even got a picture that was published over, I think it was one of their bodies of, they had some water, and it was all like green, and all the trees, and you would just think, oh my goodness, what is in there? And that was one of my pictures that got published at Word Gathering. But I just remember going through all the parks and just seeing how beautiful it all was, and just loving New England around fall. That was one of my favorite memories.
Nice.
So, yeah, New England. I'm telling you, that Northeast area, it is just absolutely amazing. We stayed in Connecticut last night on our way home. Well, we're not going to home. We're going to South Carolina today. But yeah, we stayed there last night, and just it's just, I could just keep talking all about the Northeast and how much I love it and how much I want to move here. But my wife has nothing to do with it because she hates snow.
My cousin's been trying to get me to move to Boston for years. So.
Yeah. And so, last question, Michelle. Thank you for participating in our Two Truths and a Lie. So don't forget, go over to our Facebook page. The three of us will be there. We'll be listed. We'll have it, and you get to choose who was the liar. I'm not going to say anything, but baby got back, and it's kind of suspicious to me.
Wow.
I mean, 20 feet from a moose. Anybody can get 20 feet from a moose, right? Now, anyways, so Michelle, last question. What are some things that you do to make sure that you're traveling safely when you are traveling?
One of the things that I always try to do is I just try to really do a lot of planning up front, and I try to be aware of my surroundings and where I'm at, and just to make sure that I have everything with me and that I have what I need, and to try to also anticipate problems before that even happens. My husband and I also watched a lot of videos before, but I think it's just being aware of your surroundings and using the resources and advocating for yourself.
Awesome. Yes. Tom, you got anything else?
I'd like to bring back something that Trevor and I started when we first started the show. It doesn't have anything to do with travel. Um, is a hot dog a sandwich?
Is a hot dog a sandwich? That is a good question. I'm not 100% sure about that.
We've argued this for a long time, and we've asked a lot of our guests this, and we haven't. The last couple we didn't because they're kind of repeats. So I decided to bring it back with you.
Yes,
So
that is true. And if you go back and you listen to some of the
Yeah.
very first episodes, that was their big thing. And I've never been asked that question. I had lobster rolls while we were up in Maine, and it's not much different than what a hot dog would be because the bun is, it's just a bun with a little
Right.
slit atop. And so I
Yeah.
don't know.
I think that's a sandwich. I think a hot dog's a sandwich. Trevor is on the other end. He's like, a hot dog is a hot dog.
I think it's a taco.
True.
Well, technically, all tacos are sandwiches because it's made with a flatbread.
So, Michelle, I know you have your own blog and some other
Yes.
things like that. If you want to share those with our listeners so they can go over and check you out and give you some likes.
Sure. I am at michellesmission.net, and I'm also in the process of getting another one, so of moving at that. But if you find me, you can find me at michellesmission.net.
And
All
where
right.
can they find your book?
It's also on Amazon called Rediscovering Your Story.
Okay.
So,
Awesome. Fantastic. Well, thanks so much for joining us. And do us a favor. Go on a cruise, preferably a Carnival cruise.
Okay.
We are Carnival Cruising Podcastaways. We're not necessarily affiliated with Carnival. We just really are, we love Carnival. And so, but go on one of those, hit us up, let us know what you thought about it, and we'll have you back on to tell us about it.
I would love to. Yes, definitely.
Thank you again. And you guys have a blessed day.
You too.
All right. Bye-bye, Michelle.
Bye-bye.
So we'd like to thank Michelle again for putting up with our antics for one thing, and hopefully she does go on a cruise and she can relate what she's gone what her experiences on a cruise is like as well, with not only with the land travel but with cruising, because I do think that there will be a little bit of an aid curve that's going to be needed there.
Yeah, I would, and that was one thing, and I didn't want to really break it to her, but her husband will be with her because a cruise is a lot about timing.
It is.
So luckily, if you go on Carnival, you have the Hub app. You can set alarms, in that. But also, we also know as seasoned cruisers that when you get off that ship, you have to be back on that ship at a certain time.
Yeah.
And if you don't, but
now I don't know if finding her room is going to be an issue, because as long as she knows that the room is odd or even, she can see the sign that says odd or even. Now, figuring out which direction she's going to go may be a little bit difficult, but
yeah.
Other than that,
I'm pretty sure
finding her room will be good.
Her husband will be able to help her out. So, but once again, Michelle, thanks if you do listen to this, and we really do appreciate you coming on and just talking about your disability and what it's like traveling with this pretty, in my opinion, that would be very, very hard.
That's a substantial disability, I think.
Not knowing east, west, north, south, not knowing left or right, and having the numbers, not being able to read the face of a clock. Yeah, that can be very, driving by itself, going down the interstate and having to take either I-295 or I-495 or I-95, that could put a curve in things too. Well, Tom, I know we've had some other cruise news that's happened this week. Is there anything you would like to talk about? Do you have anything that you kind of aware of? Or
I know that the Carnival Legend is starting the European cruise season, which I think this is the first season in several years that they've had a European season.
The Carnival Legend. So,
yes.
Oh, is the Legend? I'm trying to think. I got to pull everything up. It's in that Liberty Freedom size, right? Does that seem right? Okay. And then is that Man, I want to say that is that a West Coast or is that a Miami or Port Canaveral thing ship?
I think it's getting out of dry dock. Hold on a second. It's going to treat Legends to. I don't know. I think it's out of Canaveral or maybe
Yeah, I'm pulling up
Jacksonville.
Cruise Mapper. Now I know it's not Jacksonville. Jacksonville's the Elation. So that's the thing. Once you get down into Port Canaveral and Miami, there's so many ships that are in and out of there that
Yeah.
that's why I can't remember exactly what. But here's a PDF for it, and this that's just so I can kind of know what's gonna, because I always like to know. Okay, well, if it's leaving this port, who's taking its place? Where's it going to end up be? Where's it going?
Yeah,
And
this one in a dry, and the Legend went into dry dock and over in Spain, and they've doing 13. Oops, no, not 13. They're doing several European cruises, 16 cruises this year through
oh wow,
Europe.
so it's leaving the U.S. and heading over for a little while to
Yeah,
spend a lot of time
it,
though over
it's
there
going to
in
be
Europe.
it's going to be a true European season. So I mean
Hmm.
that they, like I said, they haven't done that in a few years. I think the last one
Okay.
that did it was the Magic was the last one that had a full European season.
Okay, so the Legend was actually in Baltimore. So it's a Northeast ship, it looks like. Because I'm seeing here just a little while back, it's in March that it temporarily moved home port to Norfolk.
Oh,
Um,
was that okay?
yep. And so that was, and then I'm looking here, and like I say, probably would have been a little bit, but it also has cruised out of, yeah, like I say, I was thinking that it was a Northeast or West Coast because I don't see it on my itineraries much because I try to sail out of Southeast, and
Yeah,
I haven't had an opportunity to really get on it much. So that was one of those things of why I was thinking. And now it is moving to Galveston, it looks like.
yeah. That's going to be the Galveston's fourth ship.
Okay. Wow. So there you go. So it might start popping up in some of my searches then, because I do include Galveston sometimes in that.
Which I
So
think they're
some
going
other,
to have.
oh, go
I
ahead.
think they're going to have a fifth ship soon too, in Galveston.
Wow. That's a
They're
lot of ships coming in and out of there.
they're banking on Galveston now because Royals got that huge new facility, and Galveston has
Mhm.
really boomed. Now they're like the third busiest cruise port in the United
Oh
States.
yeah,
So
yeah. Because I mean, MSC's moved it. I mean, MSC has a ship that's going there. I know that. Yes.
Disney just
So
came
there's a
back.
lot of things.
Disney just came back
Yeah,
to,
the
to
Galveston is
Galveston.
Galveston is getting popular. Yeah. So, speaking of Galveston, and nothing to do with Galveston, but Carnival. I read some articles earlier this week, and it was kind of interesting because Carnival is, I don't know if you want to call it reducing their footprint. And when I say
Mhm.
Carnival, I mean big Carnival, umbrella
Yeah,
Carnival.
yeah.
They're doing some consolidation, and they're taking the P&O cruises in Australia,
Oh yeah,
and it's going to be moving and coming underneath. And I believe what I pretty much gathered was those ships that P&O has is going to be coming into Carnival's
yeah.
cruising.
I think that's what I read too. They're going to
So,
absorb. It's going to be like whenever White Star was absorbed by Cunard. Yeah.
mhm. So yeah, so the Carnival brand is going to see its fleet boosted by 8 ships after acquiring the vessels from their sister Costa Cruises as well, and ordering new ships to come in 27 and 28. So that's a rather large increase for Carnival over the next few years. So yeah, so what this article is saying here, I'm just kind of skimming through it as we go, but the Carnival brand will see its fleet boosted by 8 ships after also acquiring vessels from their sister line, Costa Cruises. So, and then it also includes their new ships that they're off ordering that we don't know the names of yet. We've talked about our speculation of what they might be.
Yeah.
go back about 60 or 50, maybe 120 episodes ago, and you'll hear us talk about what I think and what Trevor and what Tom thinks that those ships might be named and where they'll be sailing from. But so altogether, in less than 3 years, Carnival is going to be adding 8 ships to its fleet. So that kind of explains why one of those ships is going to Galveston.
Yeah.
So, or one of the Carnival ships is going to Galveston. So yeah, but yeah, so that also, you know, I mean, if you don't know, we're going to let you know this. Carnival has Carnival Cruise Line, right? But then there's also the Umbrella Carnival, and Carnival also owns what was P&O, which was one of, if I remember correctly, I hate saying this because I'm not specifically sure, but I want to say P&O was one of the first cruise lines somewhere. It was like either.
I think it was in.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. It was one of those first cruise lines in England, but and it's P&O stands for Peninsular and Oriental. So, but that's where that's at. But they also own Princess, if you didn't know about that, and they own Costa Cruises. So, or Costa, whichever way you like to pronounce it. I don't know how it's pronounced. I've never heard it, but because I'm just a Carnival Cruising podcast away, I'm not a Carnival Cruise Line, Carnival Corporation.
They also own Cunard, and they own Cunard and not Holland America. Yeah, Holland America. And one other cruise line. I can't think of it at the moment. Well,
yeah, but this transaction and everything with P&O is going to take place next year, not this year. Passengers who are set to cruise in 2024 will not be affected. But if you have booked some after, like on the Pacific Explorer after March 2nd, you're going to have the option for a refund, or Carnival will give you just a credit and give you some extra onboard spending to help, you know, ease the pain of knowing your cruise was canceled.
And while they go and have those ships docked and repainted and everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, new berths and just get them nice and clean.
Yep. Uh-oh.
Looking. I was not able to pull this up, but my wife was just telling me about it earlier today. We talked about the Carnival Pride last week, I think, right? Remember it was coming out of Baltimore, and it was going to Greenland for over there and back, a round trip for to Greenland. My wife found on Cruise Hive today, she had a notification somehow, and they have not been able to visit a port since they have started on their journey.
Really?
The ports that they were supposed to visit, the weather's been so bad is what it seems like. They actually had anchored outside of their last port, which was supposed to be today on Wednesday when we record. And the winds were gusting up to 25 to 30 miles an hour. And the waves were so high and bad that they could not bring the tenders out, or as Carnival calls them, water shuttles. But they couldn't bring those out to the ship to grab the people. And the fog also.
So that's what that lady who wrote John was talking about. Okay. And she was not actually, this lady was not a complaint. She was praising the crew on how good they were, while, even though they were stuck, for 11 days on the ship.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So they've went all this time, since they've left, and they still have not touched a port. They've been stuck on the ship. And so the fog was really bad today. I'm sure just weather has not allowed them to get into port is what it seems like. It's just an unfortunate event that happens with cruising. However, one of those good things about travel insurance, all right, we keep preaching it here on Carnival Cruising Podcastaways. We don't have a sponsor, but if you're out there and you have a travel insurance company and you think you would like to, sponsor us, we'd be more than happy to pitch your specific travel insurance.
Yeah.
But if you do miss a port and you have travel insurance, that travel insurance will compensate you for that day of cruising.
On top of the fact that Carnival will refund you the port fees for that day.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And any excursions you purchased through Carnival.
Yep. Yeah. So if you go on 6 cruise or 6 ports, and they'll take the amount divide it up or whatever, and then give you that portion of your cruise back. So that's also kind of nice. So anyhow, well, man, I'm telling you what, I think this was a good episode, Tom.
I do
made
too.
it. We made it without Trevor.
Like we needed Trevor. We're the people that they come and listen to. It's not Trevor.
They definitely don't come to look at me. I know that much. But
Well,
they
look
do
at
come
me.
to
I
listen.
mean, I'm uglier than you are. At least you got a wife,
Hey,
man.
Listen, here's my problem, right? He's putting out all these new videos, and he's putting out these shorts all over YouTube and TikTok, like we talked about earlier. And he's, and people can always just come over to Spotify and watch us if they so desire.
Yeah.
But for me, it's like, I really am like, man, all these videos, and like anytime I talk, and it seems like I've been doing more of that lately, he puts my face up there, and whoever's talking gets that big face, up at the top, and the other two guys are these little bitty faces. So I'm going to tell you, you're going to see that I'm not talking as much in the next few episodes. That might be why.
All right,
I'm gonna stay that little bitty small face.
All right, guys. Just remember, you are loved. No, I can't remember Trevor's sign off. So remember, anything that happens on the ship. Unique. Yeah, there you go. Go for it, and go for it, not Trevor.
Just remember, you are special, you are unique, and you are loved.
And remember, anything that happens on the ship stays on YouTube. Bye.
And I didn't have my countdown pulled up, so I'm pulling it up right now. It'll just be just a second. Trevor will obviously let this continue to play, and more than likely make a short out of it with my face up there on the top.
Exactly, because
you know what would keep him from doing that? Yeah, exactly. But you know what would keep him from doing that is if I threw a curse word out there. But I won't do that. Oh man, Trevor, we love you. We miss you, buddy. We hope you get better soon. For those listeners who made it this far, he's okay. He's just down in his back, and so we're hoping that they can figure out what's going on with it, and we'll get that situated. Yeah. But in 52 days, 5. I don't know which way. 5, 2. 52 days, I will be on the Carnival Jubilee. And on day 51, 3, whichever way it goes, that next morning, I will have a Carnival Blue Iguana Cantina breakfast burrito in my hands. Adios.
Save the foosball table. Bye-bye. See ya.
Thanks for listening.